Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Solio Analytics. We are into Gameweek 5. We're not into any more clarity or any more comfort that we can give people because there's panic everywhere. People are selling Salah. People want Haaland. Palmer is back. Saka is not back.
Yes.
But Jonny is back. Jonny, how are you?
I am back. Yeah, it's like the biggest news of the weekend. Yeah.
Oh, you are yellow flagged.
I am yellow flagged.
Slightly still yellow
I
flagged.
have a bit of a cold. So apologies if my audio sounds a bit funny, but I'm powering through, so we'll be fine. I think. Yeah, I'm looking forward to potentially bench boosting Game Week 5. Maybe not. I've wildcarded into some injuries rather than wildcarding out of them, which is the wrong way around to do it. But otherwise, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right as well. I benched a Van de Ven Hall.
Yeah,
and none of my other players did anything. So,
wow.
It's like, I don't know if you used to watch Friends and Ross used to do, I'm fine kind of thing. I'm fine.
Yes.
So yeah, that's where I am. But you tell me about your wildcard. How are you feeling?
I'm fine. All good. Yeah, I think actually I didn't make too many changes from when we recorded the video on the Tuesday. I did swap it around a little bit because I realised that it was going to be like exact budget to do a 2-move swap to get Haaland and Palmer. And I thought actually Haaland might be rising. I might not have wanted Palmer by then. He might not have been back, but I didn't want to leave that option. So I downgraded Mitoma to Tielemans, who I couldn't resist getting back in. And he's not helped me out. He's got injured. And Diakite has not turned up as well. I went for Diakite and Senesi. And Diakite just wasn't involved in the squad at all. So that was a nice surprise. But otherwise, yeah, I don't think I would have done anything too differently. So I'm kind of happy with the process. It's just that the outcome has been that, it was partly to set up for a bench boost 5 and get that played while I had a structure that I liked. Which has made it a bit trickier, but equally I banked 3 transfers, so I've got routes out of it that weren't ones I was planning to take, but it's not like it's sort of completely scuppered me. It's just a bit frustrating. And I know people who played free hit or played wildcard with Semenyo, for example, got more points than I did. So I'm not really sort of making ground in the ranks, but also I don't actually know what rank I'm not really looking yet. I think Game Week 10 is the sort of benchmark people say of when things start to even out. But even then, we're talking about this season with everyone playing chips in the first half. That you can be in Game Week 10, but have 3 chips in hand on a lot of people, and actually your true rank is a bit higher or a bit lower, or vice versa. Some people have spent, I don't know if anyone spent all their chips already, but did you have done that? No, there's 4 chips, and we're Game Week 4. Oh no, you could play Game Week 1. I forgot you can't wildcard Game Week 1, but you could bench boost. Some people have played all their chips. So if you haven't played all your chips, then you can catch those people. You should feel good about that.
Theoretically,
yeah, they might have 100 of points more than you, but anything can happen. If it can swing that far one way, it can swing that far the other way. So
exactly,
we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
The thing is, I agree with you on the rank. I agree with you on the volatility early on. I think the one thing which is I feel it's a little different by Game Week 5 is I feel I don't have grips with the season yet. And, there's some big talking points. So last season, by Game Week 4, everyone was laughing at people that didn't have Haaland, right? They were okay, Haaland was the best triple captain, scored a hat-trick for people in the triple captaincy in Game Week 2 or 3.
Back-to-back hat-tricks, I think.
Something like that. Yeah. And so it was like, how can you not have Haaland? Guys, come on. Yeah. Then, fast forward to Game Week 14, 15, people are saying, you're an idiot that you still have Haaland. You haven't switched to Salah. What kind of an idiot still has Haaland? Have you looked at him?
Yeah.
So this is 10 game weeks. The difference is 10 game weeks. And this is what I'm struggling with, that right now I feel the masses opinion matters because it affects price changes, it affects, effective ownership rank, and things like that. Exactly. So their opinion matters at this stage, and people are ready to say Salah data rubbish, Liverpool are good, but attack not clicking, Salah rubbish. Haaland, on the other hand, is going to score 50 goals this season. And what's your... I know you're not going to be on the extremes, but where
60,
are you with
60
this?
goals. More.
You're looking to do the transfer as well, right? By game week 6. But is it a permanent thing? Are you going to roll it back, or you're just going to see?
Yeah, I think I actually spoke about it last week in terms of I had eyed up that move in game week 6, and part of the reason I wanted to wildcard was because it let me set up to better make that swap and use fewer of my free transfers and save the free hit for later rather than playing the free hit in 6 for Haaland, which I think was most people's plan. And then people have kind of realised that actually they might want Haaland a bit longer. And I think actually there's still many viable paths with Salah, with Haaland, with neither, with both. I don't think there's really a structure that you need to be on. I've seen people who've been, if you didn't start with Salah for these opening 4 weeks, you've missed Salah playing Bournemouth, who we thought were not particularly strong coming into the start of the season because they'd got a whole new back line. Had done really well last year, but it all changed. You'd have missed Salah at Burnley as well. Burnley, a team that we don't think are very good. I still don't think they're very good. Even though Salah needed a penalty in the last minute to score, I don't think Burnley are a good team. So you have, gone without some of these big chances for Salah to do really well. Obviously, it's paid off for a lot of people. Or, well, it hasn't paid off. Haaland's been really good, but Salah's still getting points somehow in the last minute. So I think that can continue. Sometimes you can almost be on the right side of who's you think is going to do better, but not always get the same points out of it. So actually Salah can just get those points in those bad games, and Haaland doesn't get 2 hat-tricks. He gets a few goals. So even if you go, okay, I want to swap in 6, get onto Haaland, get off Salah, then maybe Haaland does play more minutes and Salah gets his slightly reduced minutes because he's a little bit older and he's got all these extra games, but Salah can just still score more points. So I'm trying to weigh up what do I think is going to happen. And I think I really try and think, again, in terms of these ranges of outcomes, or thinking probabilistically rather than single outcomes. So Haaland is not suddenly amazingly better than he's ever been, and Salah's not suddenly amazingly worse than he's ever been. That maybe is how they've done for 4 weeks. And I think this is again what Sir Talp talked about in our descriptive predictive analytics. Descriptively, Salah's not been very good. Haaland's been very good. But I feel like this used to happen a lot with Son and Kane. Was you'd go on runs of Son is getting the goals, and then suddenly Kane's getting the goals, and people would look back and go, well, these games suited Son and these games suited Kane, and the upcoming games they're all playing a high line, so I want Son. But I think it just was, if Son and Kane are very good and are scoring points randomly, it's obviously not fully random, then you expect to have those strings of Kane does well, Son does well. So I think Haaland and Salah's the same. I'm expecting there to be further strings in the rest of the season where Salah gets loads more points than Haaland, and then Haaland gets loads more points than Salah, and vice versa. And to some extent, you want to try and predict those, but they're not always predictable. So I'm slowly updating my beliefs. I think I am lower on the Salah than I've been before, and I'm probably higher on Haaland than I've been before, but they're still both good, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I know that was quite a roundabout way of saying that, we should update slowly. We need more information to conclude that Haaland is a chunk better than Salah. They're both good.
I mean, the other way to think about it is we don't yet have full information on Liverpool's attack.
Yeah.
Their main record signing hasn't even stepped foot on the pitch in the Premier League. So how will that affect Salah? And of course, it's positive and negative in its own right? He could take his goal share, but then he could also bring him into the attack a lot more than Ekitike has been able to do so far. Slot's not an idiot. He, if Joe on FPL Twitter, and there's average Joe I'm talking about, not any particular Joe, is able to point out that Salah is being peripheral in their first 4 games. I think Slot is also looking at this and saying, here's the guy who did all this, and how can we get him more involved, because this is what is impacting our number of goals. So there's a lot of stuff here that we can talk, and it's nice to hear, and we can hypothesize and say this is what's going to be. But I think I want to say sensible podcast. We're going to say it's early and be careful changing your priors. If you want to make the switch, make the switch. Be prepared, keep transfers. If you want to make the switch back, captaincy is what matters a lot. As it happens in the period between game week 9 to game week 12, neither are essential because neither are like the best captain. I think you had the 2 weeks where Salah was the best captain in 4 and 5, where I don't think anybody was making the switch. You have the week where Haaland is the best captain, where it's game week 6. But then after that, it gets murky again because in game week 7, you have Bruno. Game week 8, you can argue both are good. Salah's home to Man United. Haaland is home to Everton, I think. So you can captain either. And then after that, it's Palmer Saka or Palmer Gyökeres, whoever you want to do, you can rotate between them. So this discussion that we're having now actually really comes into it in game week 12, 13, where it's going to be, do you pick one? Do you pick both? Do you pick, who do you captain if both have a great fixture? So I think we'll leave it at that in terms of Haaland versus Salah. I think a lot of people, what is true is a lot of people have moved from, I'm just going to free hit because I don't want Haaland long term, to let me think about making a transfer. So the second talking point, which is slightly linked because, one of the answers to Haaland or Salah can be Haaland and Salah.
Yeah.
But when Palmer exists, then that answer becomes more difficult because Palmer also exists and Palmer is now back. So you obviously wildcarded because Palmer was injured and Palmer scored. So why did you do that?
Well, because maybe I'm an idiot like Slot. I mean, there was a more positive update after I'd already decided to wildcard. So I could have included him, hoping that, maybe he can come back in the future. But I also left a route to him in game week 6. So part of what I was doing, which is partly what we were talking about before in terms of we need more information. And it's not like one extra week of information will make it fully clear one way or the other on Haaland or Salah or something else. Sometimes it does in terms of like, maybe it's who's taking the penalties. And then a week happens and one of them takes a penalty and you go, okay, well, it's this guy. Or should I get this one or should I get this one? And one of them gets an injury or gets suspended. So there's a few cases where it becomes clear cut. But mostly it's just a bit more info about maybe Isak starts in game week 5 and we get a bit more info about Salah. So I wanted to put myself in a spot where in game week 6 is where I was making the decision on Palmer rather than having to make the decision in game week 4 whether to make the transfer to sell him or not, because people had sold him in 3, but I'd rolled the transfer, so I still owned him. So I'd postponed the decision on Palmer. I'd benched him and rolled. And in game week 4, I wanted to postpone it again, among other things. That wasn't the only reason. But what Wildcard 4 allowed me to do was to go, I'll commit to not having him for 4 and 5. And in game week 6, I have a route to him if he's fit. If he's not fit, I can go without him. There's other routes. If he's fit, but he looks like his minutes are getting managed, or some other reason why he's not as good a pick as I thought so, then I've got other routes that don't include him. So it pushed my decision on him to game week 6 with another option to push it even further to game week 8 or 9. I think game week 9 is the one where he's probably the standout captaincy option. People are looking at bringing him in there. So I think, again, that's what people want to do this week with game week 5 to game week 6 in terms of, well, we'll look at your team in a bit, but do I want to wildcard into Haaland? Do I want to buy Haaland? Do I want to free hit Haaland in? Do I want to skip Haaland? Well, you might want to do that. Probably less likely. Some people might do that. Don't know if anyone owns Haaland and wants to free it out of him. Maybe you do.
They did last week.
Well, that's true, yeah. But he wasn't playing Burnley. A bit different, but so I think that's what we're trying to do partly this week as well, is like actually what you can do by rolling or making flexible transfers is you can buy yourself that information. So it's not that we know exactly what information we'll get in game week 5, but for example, what happened in game week 4 is the information we got is that Palmer is back. Maybe we don't know if he's fully back. We'll find out if he plays against, I think it's tomorrow they're playing Bayern.
Thursday, actually.
Thursday. So that's more info. And then, there's midweek games as well. So we've got the cup games going on now. So like the longer you wait, the more info you get. So the more informed your decision on which way to go is. So if you can make a sort of interim decision in the meantime, which is my conundrum at the minute, because I've got a bench boost I kind of wanted to play and 2 injuries, so I can either make some transfers to fix that and play the bench boost, but is there a way I can do that lets me still make the decisions I wanted to make in six, or do I have to bring them forward to 5? Do I have to, bring the free hit back into play in game week 6? Do I skip the bench boost, get to game week 6, and have all the flexibility, but a bench boost to still play at some point? So I think those are the conundrums that a lot of people are looking at. But for most people, unless you're bench boosting, you can probably just roll your team out and come back in game week 6 and reassess. But some people might want to wildcard. I don't know if anyone's wildcarding this week. Doesn't feel like a great week to wildcard to me.
We will come to when we look at Rob's numbers, we'll come to why wildcard. You shouldn't be wildcarding. But if you press the button, we can have a chat on who you can potentially think. By the way, Millwall have equalized. It's going to pens. So
oh my goodness.
Stay tuned for implications of what happens between Palace and Millwall. Aston Villa and Brentford have also gone to pens. So we're also about to find out if Watkins can take a pen.
Is he on the pitch still?
He came on, so he's on.
Right. Tielemans not there.
Tielemans not there. Rogers is there. So we'll see. Anyway, we will keep ourselves updated as we go along. Speaking of Villa, actually, one last talking point before we get into some of the demo stuff is, how do people react to things that were high on the model game week 1? Wirtz is a good example.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people went for him. He was highest in the first 12 game weeks for the number of assists for Liverpool. Well, I want my refund because I've got nothing so far.
No assist.
Is it just variance? Is it the model having huge errors when it's a new signing, when it's a new team, or it's a mix of...
Yeah, I think at the start we did talk about how a lot of these predictions are kind of like an average of a range of distributions. So it wasn't saying that he can't get no assists. It was saying that the likelihood of him getting no assists is lower than the likelihood of, Ryan Gravenberch getting no assists. Like, we're expecting more assists on average from Wirtz because he's playing in attack. I don't actually know if Gravenberch has got an assist. Maybe that wasn't the best example. But you can see, I think you would agree that it's less likely that Gravenberch gets no assists than Wirtz does. But a likely outcome is still that both of them get no assist. In fact, I think the likeliest outcome in any given game for a player is normally to not score and not get an assist. It's actually slightly rarer. Maybe some players end up being projected enough goals on average that you're kind of expecting a goal or more, or a return or more. But actually, 0 returns was a quite likely outcome for any given player. Even if they were good. So it updates our belief in that we say, okay, it's more likely now that he wasn't as good as we thought he was, or he might not continue to be that good because he's blanked 4 times. But that's not to say he's rubbish. He will never be able to return. It's just that the likelihood of him scoring more has decreased. If that makes sense. I feel like I'm saying a few double negatives. But yeah, so like Salah could have blanked 4 times. Haaland could have blanked 4 times. And we wouldn't necessarily think that makes them terrible. Messi, I'm sure, has played 4 games in a row without scoring or assisting. Maybe he hasn't, but he's a bit of an outlier. But like, good players will go on bad runs. So you can sometimes look back at it and go, okay, am I trying to find a reason why he's not returned? So maybe he's playing in a different position than I think he was, or they're not passing him the ball. He's more involved in the build-up before the attack and the assist. But you have to kind of question, am I just trying to find a reason to explain these numbers, or am I finding a real reason that does explain them? Because the most likely explanation is it's just chance that his shots didn't go in, his passes to other people, their shots didn't go in. You have to be quite sure to be able to rule out that possibility. if that makes sense. I think you need quite a bit of evidence. So that does happen. You do go, oh, this guy isn't on penalties when we thought he was. Or he's not playing up front, he's playing on the wing when we thought he'd play up front. Or he's been dropped, he's not playing. We go, okay, well, maybe he wasn't as nailed as we thought he was. There are big enough shifts that you can go, okay, I should make a big shift in my priors. But I think someone who's played pretty well, Liverpool their attack's not clicking, but it's still doing okay. They're still putting up okay numbers. I'd definitely be less keen on him now than I was in Game Week 1. I didn't pick him in Game Week 1, but hypothetically in terms of rating the player. But I think, again, it hasn't moved hugely because it's a likely enough outcome. It was more likely he did this than he returned every game, because his chance of return is going to be less than 50%, I'd imagine, or there or thereabouts. So maybe it's equally as likely. I haven't run the numbers exactly. But no returns in 4 games is a fairly plausible outcome for any player, I'd say. Would you agree?
I would
Watkins,
agree.
I guess.
But same with Watkins, and it's actually good contrast, because you may say, Wirtz has blanked because new in the league, new system. Well, nothing much has changed at Villa, to be honest.
Yeah.
You can't even use that as, Watkins is getting acclimatized to the Premier League or whatever. There, people will try to find reasons of, okay, they're toothless because not made any signings or whatever.
Yeah.
But look, these are all reasons to explain something that is possible. It's one of the scenarios of many that were possible. But when you own both of them, it's not very nice. But
yes, that's true.
Let's go to our next section, or let's actually start the meat of the pod, which is actually, what do we want to start with? Should we go to Wildcard 5 or shall we go to...
we'll start with the Game Week 3 odds, I think.
Game Week 5, yeah.
Game Week 5 odds, not Game Week 3. I've labelled it
Before
Game
we
Week
do
3
that,
before.
we can also reveal that Palace have won the shootout against Millwall.
Okay. So
go on then. Tell us, what does it mean?
What does that mean? So, because Palace, I think I've said this before, I'll try and say it succinctly. Palace play in the Conference League and the League Cup, the Domestic League Cup. And they both have a fixture at the same time in a midweek before Game Week 17. So Palace, if they win their next League Cup game, will be in the quarterfinals and will have 2 fixtures to play in that midweek. They can't move the European fixture because of other European commitments, so they'd move the quarterfinal to the weekend because there's nowhere else to put it before the semi-final, which has to come beforehand. But they can move the Premier League fixture. So Palace against Leeds in Game Week 17 can move to another midweek somewhere else. So if Palace beat their next opponent in the next round, then it's pretty likely, there's a small chance that they can move it around a little bit, but it's pretty likely that Palace Leeds blanks in Game Week. Game Week 17. 17, yeah. Equally, if Palace draw up against another Premier League opponent in the quarterfinal, which has now moved to the weekend, then their fixture from Game Week 17 has to move out of that weekend as well. They might play a Championship team, they might not make it. But if that Premier League team and that fixture in Game Week 17 has a European team, so if they drew Everton play Arsenal in Game Week 17, they might draw Arsenal directly, they might draw City directly, then that one's got more pressure to come forward to the Game Week 16 midweek. Which is free for
Arsenal
them
don't play
because
Europa
they're
League.
Not playing Conference League. Yeah, so they're basically swapping their League Cup and Premier League game. I think that also needs to happen because Everton would have to be knocked out. No, because Everton would be in the Cup. Arsenal would need to not have their Cup game. If Arsenal are still in, then their Cup game can't go to the weekend. It gets a bit fiddly, but there's a likely chance, I'd say about 40% likely, we get a blank in Game Week 17 now, and maybe a 15% chance or so of getting a double in Game Week 16 because Palace is still in both competitions.
So I think the way to think about it is next week are the remaining games of the Carabao Cup.
Yep.
And I presume the draw also will be end of next or
Yeah,
mid
I
next
think
week
the
when the
draw is
games are
next week,
finished.
yeah.
So I think the next big information we will get is who actually Palace draw
Yes.
and who's still in the competition,
Yeah.
right? So then we'll be able to do better odds of what are the odds of actually Palace winning that tie and reaching the quarterfinal, and also the odds of who their opponent could be in that quarterfinal.
Yes.
So better guesses on is there really a chance of a double. And why does it matter next week is, for example, if there's a material chance of a double, then you may want to think about either saving your free hit because you may want to free hit in that double, you may want to save a triple captaincy, or you may even want to delay your wildcard because you want to get full information on all of this before you wildcard, and that full information comes around game week 9 or 10?
Yeah, I think it's game week 9 to 10 would be the round 4 fixture. But it'd probably not be till game week 12, 13 where we know the rearrangement.
We'll know the blank, but we may not know the
Yes, double. Yeah. So we know that the
Yeah.
blank happens. We don't know when the double would be. Or we know that the blank isn't happening. Palace might lose in round 4.
Exactly.
But yeah, we get more info by about game week 10. And then a bit more info about 13 or so. But yes, so it's something to think about with chips mostly. I think transfers don't really need to think, I wouldn't not buy a Palace player or a Leeds player this week because they might blank. But yes, those are the sort of ripple effects. I think this is why some people wanting to save, or people who are looking at triple captain in game week 6 on Haaland, might want to save it for a potential double, with the backup knowing that Haaland and Salah both have some pretty tasty fixtures around game week 13 to 19 anyway as a backup. So if you don't triple captain Haaland against Burnley, you can do it against Sunderland. You can do Salah against Sunderland. There's other opportunities. It's not like you're just betting on a double game week or bust. It's a good opportunity this week. And obviously, I think if Palace had gone out, I think I'd be much more likely to have thought about it myself, with a minimal chance of a double. Sometimes we get stuff anyway. Obviously, last year we had Everton, Liverpool getting postponed due to a storm. The double wasn't till later, but sometimes we do get some funky weather stuff, which is a bit less predictable, but does happen. So that's the current lay of the land. Did Brentford beat Villa? Who took their penalties?
They did, yeah. So tell us about game week 31, why don't you?
Brentford won or Brentford lost?
Brentford lost.
Brentford lost.
Oh, sorry, no. Brentford have... No. Hold on.
Oh,
Brentford have beaten Villa.
it's still alive. Okay, well, nothing happens in game week 31 then, sadly.
Okay, because...
If Brentford had lost, Brentford Leeds would have been a definite game week 31 fixture, because that's the League Cup final. Yeah. Thank you for indulging me in my fixture nerdery. I'm not sure if everyone is that interested in game week 31, but once the permutations start flowing, I get excited. But yes,
the only model out there where you can actually project up to game week 31. So why wouldn't you?
Well, yes, yeah, that'll be one of our features coming up soon. We're gonna have model data up to the end of the season as part of our paid tiers. We announced on Twitter the other day about our paid tiers.
Actually, why don't we go to that page?
Back to those? Yeah.
Let's just quickly talk about it.
This people were asking about how much the Solio tool is going to cost. Obviously, it's been free for the opening couple of months. We wanted to get as many people in as possible and make sure everyone could experience it, and also while we were figuring out a few things ourselves. So there is still going to be a free tier. So we're going to have a tier 1 that's free. You get the premium model. You get the same predictions. Slightly shorter horizon, as many souls as you want, some restrictions, Discord access, etc. Tier 2 has a few more features as well.
Hold on.
Sorry,
Tier 1, I just wanted to say,
yes.
I think 2 very important points. It's the same projections. And you said it, but I just wanted to re-emphasize it. That there is no difference in terms of if you will look in the free version on the next 5 weeks in terms of everything that we have in our projections, you'll see exactly the same.
Yes, same data.
You will see the next 5 game weeks. Many people think that's plenty. Everything changes in 5. So I tend to think that it's a solid tier as a free tier for people who still want to engage in it. But then please carry on
yes,
what happens.
Yeah, so I think I was basically just going to say that tier 2, €6 a month, tier 3, €10 a month, and tier 4, €20 a month, with increasing numbers of features. Tier 3 and Tier 4 also get early access to features. We'll bring stuff a month early to those tiers. But we're going to go through these features. You should have, if you've used the tool already, you'll have a kind of a feel for what some of these features mean in terms of being able to edit goal and assist shares and player minutes and stuff. But there's a few new ones that we'll be bringing out soon in terms of editing team strengths and penalty shares, getting some info from wisdom of the crowd data, which are basically sort of seeing who people are editing as well. But we will do another separate video going through these features in more detail. And there's information on our Twitter, Solio Analytics, on Twitter and Blue Sky, and our website. So these are the current prices. Obviously, we'll have free tier, an intermediary tier, and some slightly higher tiers, and we'll go through the features in more detail. But it was just to keep people updated. I mentioned the wisdom of the crowd data. I know we're jumping around a little bit here, but we do have some of that data.
No, let's do it.
Just to get people interested to start with. So this is some of the data that we'll be building into that feature. So these are the most edited players in the Solio tool in the last 24 hours, so the last day. So it's not showing here how many edits are up or down, if you're making the player minutes go up or the goal rates go up, or if they're going down. It's just edits in one direction or another, but just to give people a flavour. So Bruno Fernandes tops the list, the most edited player today. Do you know why people are changing Bruno Fernandes? Do you think they're making him better? Maybe.
Yeah, why not? I think they're bullish on Man United after the stellar performance against Man City, and they're thinking, I want a piece of Bruno.
Yes.
The model is undervaluing Bruno
He's not
Fernandes.
good enough.
That's what's happening here. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think people aren't quite as keen on Bruno as we are and the data is. But also that's why people can do that. If you disagree with our data, you can change it. Semenyo is very high as well. I think this is another one who's
could be his goals per 90 because of penalties.
Yeah. Obviously, we got some info, so you can change before we change for you. We'll try and be as quick as possible, obviously, but market data comes in live. So Semenyo, his goal share has gone up because he's taking more penalties. I think also just got a few goals. He's in form. People want to give him a bit of a boost, confidence boost his numbers, make him feel better. And then some of these players are just ones who are involved in solves quite a lot. So Salah is actually getting edited quite a lot. I guess people are a bit more pessimistic on Salah than we've had. We talked about that at the beginning. Wirtz as well. Maybe they've been listening to our talking points as well. Palmer. Well, Palmer's back fit, I guess. So that's kind of one of the things.
Foden and Palmer could be minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, Reinders has been consistent 90s, actually. So his minutes actually looking very solid as well.
I think he's one where what we've done is we've kind of done that slow update. So obviously playing 90 in the first game, it's more likely than before that he's going to play 90 again. But you can't be sure, especially with Man City and with Pep. But he plays another game and you go, okay, I'm a bit more sure than before, but I'm not super confident. And then he plays another game at 90. And, each successive game, you get more and more confident that he's going to play 90s. But we're never 100% confident. He might just get a rest in any given game. Or obviously now we've got midweek fixtures coming up for Champions League and such. So, yes, still a lot more confident on him than we've ever been. But you never know. Stuff happens.
Exactly.
Players
but
just
this
don't
is, I mean, I
turn up
love this
sometimes.
feature, by the way. At whenever this is more granular, more readily available, I'd love to see what, if I'm missing something on a player, if someone is doing that, it doesn't mean you have to copy them. If everybody else is reducing Bruno's goal share, per 90 goals, you don't have to. So you don't have to, but I think it's nice to know where people are thinking, because many times we gauge the market sentiment or the public opinion through people's posts and stuff, but this is the real stuff. This is what they're actually putting in. This is the things they're putting into their mix to get the outcome, and then you're trying to also analyze, okay, am I missing something? If everyone is increasing João Pedro's minutes, am I being too bearish on his, just an example.
Yes.
Gyökeres has had 265-minute subs now, so we'll see how that goes. So
lots of updates. This is fun. We've got FPL all week round. We've got non-Premier League games giving us information about the Premier League. There's no rest days. We've got to work all week. And then press conferences on Friday. We'll be back. And then games on Saturday. And then we're off again.
Exactly.
Bring on the international break in game week 7 or 8, whatever it is. Right. Should we go back to the Gameweek 5 odds? We were talking about these.
Let's go back to Gameweek 5 odds. So there's two reasons why we brought this up. One is it's a beautiful chart that Rob makes every week, so of course we will show it. But the second reason is it's not colorful this week. It's not just because Rob has run out of printing cartridge. It's basically that markets are not as bullish. And what was the stat that Rob mentioned on our Discord?
Where are the goals? Yes, so this is the lowest projected goals per game for a round of Premier League fixtures since April 2023, he said.
Right, so over two and a half years.
2.5 years.
I don't want to explain this.
Yeah,
can you explain it?
There's an element of just the way that the fixtures have lined up is that actually there's a few quite close matchups. But equally, we have seen a bit of a trend over the opening games in terms of there's been less goals, there's been less chances, there's been more clean sheets. And it's only 4 weeks. Like, I don't think we can draw a big conclusion that the number of goals is going to be substantially worse for the rest of the season. But there's an emerging trend. There's a matchup of fixtures where Liverpool are the only one with a super favourable tie. To some extent, they're projecting over 2 goals, and they're the only team to do so. Next highest is actually Arsenal at home to Man City at 1.65. You've got Chelsea and Brighton at 1.61 as well. But yeah, there's just a Burnley Forest. Like, I think some of these games are just quite hard to call. Brighton Tottenham should be interesting. So it might be quite an interesting set of games to watch, especially if they end up becoming open rather than becoming closed off games. But West Ham Palace, Bournemouth Newcastle, they do all seem like level enough matches.
It's the classic bookies 1-1. What's your predicted outcome of this game? 1-1, because you don't even have big clean sheet games.
Yeah,
it's just everybody under 2, between 1 and 2. Clean sheet odds between 20 and 40. So it's one of those weeks where, the summary of it is, number one, don't wildcard, because there is no team that you can target. Like, if you need to make a transfer, put out an okay player, because no player is a terrible player this week. Like, if you have to play Reinders away to Arsenal, not terrible, because who are you going against? Like a Dewsbury Hall away to Liverpool, or okay, you can have a Paqueta home to Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace have been decent. They're West Ham only predicted to score 1.22. So any player you can put out. Let's say you have a defender. Let's say you have a defender from somebody under 30%, say from Newcastle away to Bournemouth. Or Senesi is a good example, actually, 26% clean sheet odds. Yeah, I think you can play them, because what is the alternative? You do a transfer to get a Villa defender who's 12% or 10% more clean sheet odds. So in summary, a wildcard shouldn't gain you that much in a week like this, especially because the teams you target not only have overall average fixtures, but those particular teams, like if you were to wildcard, you'd go heavy on Chelsea, they're away to Man United. You'd go heavy on Arsenal, they're home to Man City. You'd go heavy on Man City, who are away to Arsenal. So it's trickier.
Yeah, I think it's not exactly that you're going to look at your team and go, like, I'm happy with all the fixtures my players have. This looks like a good team. I probably will still look at my team and go, well, they're kind of okay. But the thing is that there's no one better. Like, I can't really make a big upgrade. So sure,
materially better.
Yeah, sure. I'm like, okay, Reinders away at Arsenal is one of the hardest games Reinders is going to have. But how much better is another 6 million mid going to be that I can swap him to? And obviously, that's for this week only. Like, he plays Burnley next week. You're not going to sell Reinders, but in terms of who I could play instead of him or bench instead of him, I think even Everton away to Liverpool have some potentially attractive assets who you might want to buy this week to fix someone. If you've got some injuries, you can buy them this week, not get the best fixture this week, but longer term, Everton look quite good. They're quite a strong team.
Tarkowski is getting his DEFCON.
Tarkowski and Ndiaye would both be viable buys this week. I think Ndiaye was a potential Tielemans replacement for me. I was looking at, and actually I hadn't really thought about it, that I might be selling someone and buying someone with the worst fixture of the game week in the worst set of fixtures we've had in a long time, and that's the transfer that might be best for my team. So yeah, anyone's viable. Do what you want. I think this is why free hit's quite tricky as well. Like, how much of an upgrade are you gonna make? on your team, unless it's a mess. But then I guess you can wildcard. What you can do with the wildcard is you can set up stuff. But I think, unless what you lose by wildcarding in Game Week 6 is that you can't play another chip in Game Week 6. So the only reason to play it in 5, I think, would be that you're dead set on bench boost 6, triple captain 6, or free hit 6. And you have to play it this week in order to do that. But otherwise, I think just put out the team that doesn't look great and wildcard in 6 if you feel like you need a wildcard soon. Because your wildcard 5 is basically your wildcard 6 team a week mostly.
Earlier.
To some extent.
Which
I guess you can roll another one, but then just roll this week.
Yeah, but information comes, injuries come. Yeah. There's midweek games after 5 as well. So, yeah, I think we've said our point. If you can avoid it,
we don't
avoid
like
it. If you've played it, cool, that's fine. There's certain picks you can still make. Away to Liverpool, away to Arsenal. If you're picking Man City, Everton players, it's not the end of the world because your wildcard is for more than 1 week. So, I guess that's where we'll leave it.
Yes, we just wanted to have a rant and be angry about the lack of goals and wildcard 5.
Yeah, I'm not watching any football this weekend, that's for sure.
No,
I'll watch the Man United game, of course I will.
Well, that's one of the highest scoring games of the week, it looks like, Man United Chelsea.
I mean, Arsenal Man City on paper has been quite good, even historically, despite all of this whole agenda of Arteta doesn't play in big games. I mean, they thrashed them in this fixture last season. Was it 3-1 or 4-1, something like that?
I can't remember.
The Lewis Kelly copying the Haaland celebration. Remember that one? Yeah. So I think that was it. That was Arsenal at the Emirates. So that should be a fun game. But anyway, let's move to a Solio demo of my team.
What are you going to do?
This is not me overindulging in myself. It's to show people. Gameweek 6 is a very interesting week. It's an interesting week because genuinely I can play one of 3 chips in that week. Or play no chips. So what Jonny has kindly set up for me in this is I have my team this week, which I will be hopefully bench boosting. I have seen today that Richards, Van der Ven, my Arsenal players have come back unscathed or
Richards
seemingly
got a goal,
unscathed.
Richards
got a goal. He's in form.
Yes. Confidence boost.
And Gyökeres got his 65th minute sub and a head.
Well rested.
A little bit of
a he's feeling good.
Cut on the head.
Yeah.
But I'm going to assume that it's all fine. So as per now, the idea is to bench boost this week. Solio is predicting something like quick math, 12 points, 12.1 points.
12.1.
So that's okay. Yeah. So that's fine for me. I'm not looking for anything. These are my 4 worst players. So if that's 12.1 points, and that means on a wildcard I can be a lot more. I can have precision in terms of which big hitters I want, and I can have 2 Krupi juniors, then so be it. So that's why I want to get rid of the bench boost. But what is more important here is we've set up 3 branches here. One is next week I could wildcard. Next week I could free hit. And then if I free hit, I'll wildcard probably way later. So the branch goes up to wildcard 13.
We'll see what about. Yeah, wildcard 13.
And then the third branch is that I could free hit, or I could just triple captain next week. So just use my free transfers. And in that case, I could either think about wildcarding in game week 8, or I just carry on with that team and wildcard a little bit later, or leave the wildcard option. So in this case, we've done wildcard 13. So all of this, one approach is you can say, well, why are you doing all the mental gymnastics right now? You're going to have these decisions to make next week. I think what the purpose of doing it this week is to know that under all circumstances, or under all the probabilities of these things, the idea is that the model, and I agree with the model, is to just say chill this week, gain more information, get your bench boost out of the way. That's what we wanted to sort of showcase.
Because there are transfers available that would improve your team this year. I know we talked about selling Reinders, obviously wouldn't make much sense in the longer term, but if you knew you were wildcarding in game week 6, then presumably a transfer to sell Reinders for someone else might come
Paqueta would be handy.
Would be an upgrade, but it's not a sufficient upgrade to lose the flexibility of, I might wildcard, I might free hit, I might triple captain. So I think it's these branching paths that really let the solver know these are my potential routes I want to take. What should I do now? And again, as you said, the most important thing now is that you just assess whether you now can mentally go, okay, all I need to do for now is assess, should I play the bench boost or not? Is my team fully fit? Are they all good? Double check Gyökeres's head is okay, etc. Play the bench boost and then wait for more info. And you can go, okay, that game week 6 decision comes in game week 6, not now. So I think you're in a good spot with that bench boost. I think, you've got, you're really hoping for a 0-0 in that Burnley Forest game.
I'm hoping for no goals in the whole.
My
attackers don't score anyway. I mean,
that's fine, yeah.
Is Wirtz and Watkins haven't scored a point since I have owned them in 4 weeks. I'm still holding fort, so I'm not expecting anything there. Salah's washed anyway. Gyökeres is half injured. Mateta keeps missing open goals. Bruno is rubbish. So it's all in defense where I'm hoping for points.
What a team. Exciting. Yeah, but you've got 15 players. They're all looking fairly good. I think a lot of the reason to play the bench boost this week is, one, as you said, gets out of the way. 2, for a lot of people, Dubravka is their backup goalkeeper. And as we can see, actually, if I click through, so in game week 6, he's away to Man City. So he's predicting 1.7 points. Whereas here, he's predicting 3.1 at home to Forest. In game week 7, he's predicting 2 points. Game week 8 is one people were looking at as well as a potential kind of like fullback week. And it seems that the best bench weeks seem to be basically when Burnley have a good enough fixture that Dubravka's got an okay game. Because actually, again, this one is actually predicting slightly more points with Anderson and Anderson.
The double Anderson.
But you might not be there. You might have played something else. You might be moving other players on. You might have bought.
Someone could be injured. It's after an international break.
Yeah, someone's injured. Might have bought Muniz. You might have done all manner of things. Might have wildcarded. Who knows? So it allows you to wildcard in 6 if you want to and carry that 4.5 fodder.
I mean, to be honest, one of my thinkings is with the bench boost is I genuinely think that some of the 4.5s this year are genuine cheat codes in terms of defenders. So, I can put... I've got all of them, but there are more. Well, you've got one who disappeared last week, but, you can pick a Bournemouth centre-back. You can pick an Anderson. You can get Richards, and I think Lacroix for a little more is a lot better, but still, he's great. I think with Van de Ven, what he's showing now, he doesn't have the same DEFCON potential, but again, it's 4.5 for a Spurs defense that is looking very good, even though they've been slightly lucky to keep the 3 clean sheets so far. But again, he's just 4.5. So I'm thinking when I do, and my team value is rubbish already, I might have to rely on my... a non-playing forward, in maybe even a non-playing or a 4.5 or a 5 million midfielder, but I'll have 5 of these defenders. I don't want an Esteve or a Rodon when I wildcard. I want good 5 defenders, and they don't have to be expensive. They can be 3 4.5s and 1 6.5 and 1 5.5, something like that. But then if bench boost is done, I don't have to hold this Esteve guy or anything else for the future.
Yeah, I think that's is a spot quite a few people are in. So I think actually, if you've got 15 fit players and you hadn't looked at bench boost 5, I'd definitely consider it. Because actually, I think we're looking at some of these structures where it's not that many good forwards. If you can take a bit of money out of that forward line and buy some of the better midfielders and get your defence looking strong, then that should pay dividends later. And also it can give you more flexibility later on with that kind of structure too. So there are reasons. I guess the counter reason is that you might be able to play a bench boost in a double game week if we get one. But equally, like if there's only one double game week and it's a small one, it's like one extra fixture, then to really get some proper juice out of it, you'd have to have both the keepers that are doubling, I guess, and that's quite tricky to do. I know you get 5 transfers around then, but then you're trying to delay your wild card. You're triple captaining in a week that isn't a double instead, and actually, there's other reasons that back it off. But I think this is why people played it in game week 1 as well. Is that it's the same reason as now, but the idea of playing it now is that you have a bit more info. So in game week 1, I think people weren't. You're not quite sure if everyone's going to turn up. Even if you're fairly confident. And I feel like the way that the season's been going, I am almost less confident now than I was in game week 1 about my players turning up. I don't know if that's legitimate or not, or just the way I feel about it.
Midweek football has started. Anything
maybe
goes
I've just
now.
been scarred by Diakite, and he's just making me think that I shouldn't trust anyone ever again. But yeah, so I think that's a good setup for Bench Boost 5. I guess we can look at a slightly trickier setup for Bench Boost 5. Let's have a look at my team.
I have news for you. Emery, after the game today, has said Tielemans will be back in 1 to 2 weeks. So it's unlikely. I'm just reading the tea leaves.
Can't
that
he
it's
just
unlikely
be out?
for this week.
Can't he just be like, he's gone?
Well,
we've sold
you get
him.
clarity at least. At least you have clarity.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, whatever. Okay, I'm just grumpy. I want Diakite, but I want Tielemans back. I want him fit. It's playing Sunderland, who are actually quite good at the minute.
True.
So what I've done first, actually, is I've solved the free hit team to show that free hit 5 sucks.
He's rubbish as well.
I mean, I think it's basically my team, mostly. I didn't have Watkins and Gakpo, but Hermansen, Virgil, Anderson, Munoz, Salah, Fernandez, Paquetá, Gakpo, Gyökeres, Watkins, Mateta. So it's got one...
Hey, that's my forward line.
One Villa guy. Oh, yeah, okay, fair enough. It sucks.
I'm on free hit
it's
5.
Terrible. You're on free hit 5. Well, if you buy Hermansen, then you'll be fine.
All right.
But yeah, like no one sticks out here. The fixtures to target, like you've got 3 Liverpool, but most people have Salah anyway. Gakpo, I guess Gakpo's still good. I don't know if we'll have more.
He's okay.
Yeah,
Isak's not going to play more than 45 minutes.
This one. But yeah, like we've still got Gyökeres at home to City, who obviously Arsenal were projecting the second highest goals in the markets. We've still got Bruno at home to Chelsea. We've still got Anderson at home to Brentford. Like, this isn't super exciting. We showed the free hit last week, and you're kind of stacking on a few defences and targeting a few things. Whereas the top solve this week, even when I started banning a few players, I think I just went, what did I do? I said, we don't want Gyökeres. We don't want Bruno. Let's just say that. It makes it more exciting. And it's like 2 points worse. And it's bought Semenyo.
At least Semenyo's in. That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, people want to captain Semenyo. Some people this week. I don't know what they think about Newcastle, about how bad they are, but
well, Newcastle will be. I think they have the Barcelona game on Thursday, so
they do. Yeah.
I can see the little bit of a fatigue element to things. It's a home game for Bournemouth, and the guy is taking penalties now. I don't know if Clivert comes back or not.
That's true. Yeah, he doesn't seem to be that involved. So there's your free hit team.
So in short, don't free hit is what we will say. Just like we said, don't wildcard or don't triple captain. What else should you not do this week? Don't bench boost. Bench boost you can this week.
Don't bench
people
boost.
Like me
don't bench boost.
No, you can bench
boost
right. Because Burnley and Leeds both have a reasonable enough fixture that you can possibly bench boost if you're looking at it. And the way I see it is, because everybody is okay, there's lots of benching headaches. A lot of people are not sure who to play in their team because everybody has an okay fixture.
Don't rub it in.
I'm just gonna say I'll play everyone. But yeah, you tell us about your team.
Play everyone. So I've got Tielemans, who may or may not be. Sounds like it's probably out this week, but back soon. I've got Diakite, who we don't know. He just wasn't 100% last week for some reason, and they brought that 18-year-old in, who apparently did look very good. And this is exactly how Dean Howson got his spot and got his move to Real Madrid. Was Senesi got injured and he came in for a game and was really good. So sounds like Diakite is, well, I mean, it's a new signing. He can't just be out the door, but. So I'd set this up for Bench Boost 5. So the intention was that I'd play Tielemans against Sunderland, I'd play my double Bournemouth defence against Newcastle, as a sort of small doubling up hedge on, Leggy from Barcelona perhaps. And I guess my fourth attacker would have been, Stack against Wolves would have been my bench with Dubravka. So I think that was looking fairly strong, and the plan was to roll. The issue now is that I've got 2 players who we're uncertain on what they're going to be for this week. So it's quite hard to sort of like plan for should I bench boost this week or not, because basically it's kind of reading the tea leaves on whether I think they're going to start. If I think Diakite might start, what I probably would do is I'd sell Tielemans to, I think NDI was someone I was looking at. And then if we imagine that Diakite is actually fit, I'll just put his minutes up. Maybe not that aggressively, but let's just say he probably is going to start. Then there's my bench boost. I've got NDI, Lacroix, Diakite. NDI is not so good this week, but he's actually quite good longer term because I don't want to wildcard in 6 or free hit in 6. And they've got West Ham. And then after that, they've got Crystal Palace. And it leaves me enough money to do Salah to Palmer and Mateta to Haaland. Oh, it doesn't anymore. What have I done? Maybe I've... Anyway, I thought it did. I must have input my team wrong. Okay, well, maybe I won't buy India then. Has he risen in price? What have I done?
No, he's still 6.5. Have you lost team value at all?
Probably. Probably all got worse. Yeah, I'll figure that out. Maybe. Okay.
Yeah, but you're not selling anyone who you lost team value on.
Well, I'll come back to it later. It's not something I need to sort out now. Yeah, I'm clearly in a bit of a panic.
Who's your middle striker? Is that Thiago?
Thiago, yeah. So
Thiago is not in the squad today. I don't want to scare you, and I want no meltdowns on this podcast.
I'm going to fall apart.
So, what's your thoughts on just leaving it then? Because there's enough uncertainty here to just say I'm going to roll and take 4 transfers and then just deal with all of it
another
next
wild
week.
Card, please. I'm going to do it again.
You're on 4 free transfers. You can't complain.
I've got 3. I'll have 4 by 6 if I roll, because the team's good enough to roll. Like if we say that even Diakite is like, let's pretend he's back out, I'll just reset them. Like that team's, even if Thiago's out, like I've got a team.
That's what I mean. You can just put it out
so
and not
I
bench
could roll and come to game week 6 with 4 transfers, and then even if I decide to free hit, I'll still have 4 in game week 7. So I think I did really set up to play it now. That was part of what I wanted to do, but I won't do it stubbornly. I don't think I'll go, okay, I just need to do it. There are routes where, because Thiago, I think their squad tonight was like a slightly second string team, a little bit like Valdemarson was in goal and it was a 5-3-2 again, so there wasn't always spot for him. But if he's not in the squad, I don't know if that's just a rest, but we'll see what I was going to say see what Andrew says on Friday. But yeah, he's one I have small doubts about longer term, in terms of like they've changed formation a bit slightly. So if I'm confident he's going to play this week but not confident longer term, that might be a reason to sell Diakite and Tielemans to a spot where I can bench boost 5, because another week I need Dubravka to be having some good points. Maybe that's in 8, but in 8 I want to take the money out, as we said in the other transfers. So, but then maybe I can do it in a way that I free hit in 6, and actually I don't leave the Haaland one. But then what I'm doing is I'm making my game week 6 decision in game week 5 is the issue. Like I don't leave myself an option to do that. So I could do, because I got 3 million in the bank, which was for the transfer, but actually that allows me to do, Tielemans and Diakite to almost whoever I want. I've got a lot of money to upgrade them, so I could get Gabriel and Ndiaye or something. But I think that's what I'd really need to weigh up. I'm in a bit of a tricky spot, but equally, the way I've tried not to stress about it is that there's info coming on Friday. Well, there's info coming tonight. That's what I needed to wait for. There's info coming, tomorrow and Thursday with Champions League games. There's press conferences on Friday, and I need to make a decision Friday or Saturday morning. So I need to get as much info as I can, reflect that in my beliefs here, but also then set up scenarios for anything I'm still unsure on. So if Diakite is maybe back soon and I decide to roll, then I'll need to set up some scenarios afterwards where I go, okay, Diakite is back and he's fine, and I can go and bench boost an 8 or whatever, or Diakite is out and I need to deal with him. So I think those are the things I need to set up and see whether it wants me to try and do something this week, or whether it's like, nah, just turn out your bad, I say bad team. The team's actually quite good. Turn out your team with no bench.
Absolutely.
Bad bench. And get to game week 6 with 4 transfers and pick your path then. So, yeah, I think that's probably what it's going to end up being. But if we get positive news, more positive news on Diakite, it's probably just Tielemans out, and maybe Gyökeres is injured, maybe Thiago's injured, maybe all manner of things. Who else could get injured tomorrow? Salah could get injured. Virgil.
Hope not for you. If Salah's injured, we are re-recording this and wildcard is okay. If people want to wildcard, you can wildcard.
I'm just looking at who have I still. Bruno can't play. He's fine. Paqueta can't play. Stack can't play. Anderson, no, they play next week. Bournemouth don't play this week. Okay, so it's just Salah and Virgil who could get injured from now. So that's what I need to watch out for.
Actually, to be honest, if Salah's injured, people will just make the Haaland move a week earlier.
I suppose so. Yeah, is that what I do?
But
then,
not everybody has two free
then do I
transfers. But
bench
anyway,
boost?
let's not discuss if Salah gets injured. Let's
it's a
not put it
mess.
out in the universe.
I don't know. Yeah. What else was there? Was that everything?
Yeah, I think that was everything. That was hopefully helpful to people.
I don't feel like I've been. I don't feel like I've been helped. I feel like I'm more panicked than I was at the start of it.
That's the sign of a great podcast, when you can confuse people even more than when they came in to listen to you.
I'm the podcaster. I'm meant to be giving people advice. I've gone, oh god, Thiago's injured, Tielemans is out, double game week's coming. Salah's injured. No, he's not.
Just create some branches, man.
I'll sleep on it, and yeah. I mean, I was too panicked today trying to get all my Champions League data in and get all this team sorted, and I don't know what's going on. I was looking at Atletico Madrid and who was it? Alex Baena. I didn't realize he'd gone to Atletico, and looking at the Monaco team, and confusing myself. There's too many squads, too much football. Luckily, we've got a nice boring weekend of 1-1s to ease me back into things.
Exactly, and we shall enjoy that. I think at this point, thank you everybody for listening. We will plug the channel. So we had great support last week for JC's wildcard. So many people tuned in. So thank you for your support. Thank you for watching the wildcard do what it did. I think you had a good wildcard. I mean, injuries can always be unlucky, but I think you had some good picks.
I was pleased with my picks, but the outcome is...
Exactly.
Well, it's more to think about. It's more fun, isn't it? I don't want a boring week. You got a bench boost and roll? Boring. Look at all this fun FPL thinking of what to do.
If you like boring, if you like 1-1s, subscribe to the channel, like this video. I don't know what I'm doing. All right, we'll call it quits now. Good to talk to you, Johnny. Have a good week, and let's hope everybody stays injury free and we can get through Game Week 5.
Let's see. Fingers crossed. Bye, Ron.
Take care, everyone.